ABC 10 News starts with breaking news.
The bell tolls at the Vatican to mark the passing of Pope Francis today. The faithful are gathering in St. Peter's Square today to pay tribute to the pontiff. Word came out at about 4 a.m. our time that the 88-year-old Pope Francis had died just one day after making what would turn out to be his final public appearance. Yesterday, he came out to the balcony in a wheelchair and made a loop around the square in the Pope-mobile at the end of the Easter Mass. Also breaking today, the death of Rhode Island's Senate President Dominick Ruggerio. Flags at the State House and elsewhere are flying at half-staff to honor the man Governor McKee called a great friend and true public servant. We'll have more on his passing a bit later. But we start with the death of Pope Francis. It came as a shock after his Easter appearance yesterday, even though he recently spent more than a month in the hospital suffering from double pneumonia. We have local reaction to his passing, but we begin our Team 10 coverage with NBC's Claudia Lavanga at the Vatican.
The announcement of Pope Francis's death early this morning came as a shock to Catholics around here, but also around the world. Tens of thousands of people were just here in St. Peter's Square only 24 hours ago following the Easter celebrations, and Pope Francis surprised everyone by appearing on that central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica unannounced to impart the blessing, to wish everyone a happy Easter. He, of course, looked frail, as is done for the past few months, especially also after he left a hospital more than a month ago. But there were some signs that his health was recovering. He was not wearing those oxygen tubes in his nose anymore. He got on that Pope-mobile to tour St. Peter's Square among the ecstatic crowd of pilgrims around here, and those were taken as signs that his health were improving. And only a few hours later, the Vatican announced that the Pope was dead. Now, what's going to happen next is, in 2 days, the Pope will lie in state in St. Peter's Basilica, allowing the Catholics and pilgrims and everyone else who appreciated and loved the Pope to pay their last respects. Then in 4 to 6 days, we do expect a funeral for Pope Francis to take place here in St. Peter's Square. And then in 15 to 20 days from now, the conclave will take place. Of course, that is the process through which cardinals will have to elect a new Pope. Shortly after that, on the same day, whenever we'll see white smoke coming out of the Sistine Chapel, the new Pope will appear on the same balcony right there in St. Peter's Basilica, where just 24 hours ago Pope Francis wished everyone happy Easter to announce who the next Pope is going to be. But we're not going to know that before 20 days from now, even longer perhaps. This is Claudio Lavanga for NBC News in the Vatican.
The White House posted on social media early this morning showing one photo of President Trump meeting with Pope Francis and another of Vice President Vance meeting with the pontiff just yesterday. The message said simply, "Rest in peace, Pope Francis." And Vance sent his own condolences this morning. He was one of the last people to see Pope Francis, who gave him a gift for his children. The Vatican says the two men exchanged Easter greetings. Our Team 10 coverage continues now with Gabrielle Caracciolo, who's live outside the Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul in Providence, where daily Mass is getting underway. Hey there, Gabrielle.
Well, Barbara, many Catholics tell me they were shocked to wake up to this news after seeing the Pope made a public appearance for Easter yesterday. They had thought and hoped that he was doing better. Over at Providence College, they have set up a spot in the chapel for people to light candles and say a prayer for Pope Francis. One of their now chaplains was actually able to interact with him while studying abroad in Rome 10 years ago. Father Damien Day says he brought a white skull cap to the Pope's weekly audience in St. Peter's Square and was able to actually hand it to him with a note saying it was from Providence College.
Not many people get to have that kind of, even if it was only, 60 seconds, but to actually to be able to stare into his eyes, to actually have, even with the language barrier, a brief conversation, to have that connection, and to feel that this man, who is the successor of St. Peter, who is the vicar of Christ on earth, that he's my pastor as well, and that he is there as a servant to have that kind of personal connection.
And right now, daily mass is just getting underway here at the cathedral. Prayers for Pope Francis certainly at top of mind. Live in Providence, Gabrielle Caracciolo, NBC 10 News.
Gabrielle, thank you. Tradition calls for Pope Francis's funeral to be held 4 to 6 days after his death. Plans for it were already drawn up by the Pope himself. He chose not to be buried beneath the Vatican's St. Peter's Basilica, where many of his predecessors are. Instead, he'll be buried in Rome at the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica. The date for the funeral has not yet been announced. Of course, stay with NBC 10 for updates throughout the day and follow updates on our social media channels. Also breaking today, the leader of Rhode Island's Senate has died after battling illness for months. Dominick Ruggerio is being remembered by state leaders today. NBC 10 political reporter Brian Crandall is live at the State House with reaction. Hey there, Brian.
Well, Barbara, the Senate here is in mourning. Its President Dominick Ruggerio died early this morning after going back into the hospital last week. He was 76 years old. Ruggerio was Senate President for the last 8 years, but has been a senator for 40 years. First elected in 1984, he was the Senate's longest-serving member, but he's been dealing with health issues for the last year. He announced last year he was diagnosed with cancer and then had further health complications. Ruggerio won re-election last November, but then fought off a challenge for the Senate President position as other senators openly voiced concerns about his health. Since then, Ruggerio had missed most of the Senate sessions this year. He was in the hospital with pneumonia in February, then weeks of rehab, and then back to the hospital last week due to a reaction to treatment.
I am personally heartbroken by Donnie's passing. He was my dear friend and a mentor. We shared a passion for so many things, which included improving the lives of working people, making our state a better place to live and to work, and for a deep love for the institution of the Senate.
And no details on arrangements. Senate business here is canceled for the rest of the week until further notice, and also no information about plans on electing a new president just yet, again, as the Senate mourns Dominick Ruggerio. We're live at the State House in Providence. Brian Crandall, NBC 10 News.
Brian, thank you. Still ahead on NBC 10 News at noon. Flames flare again. The home in Providence that caught fire twice. And more controversy over a group chat. Why Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is facing trouble again.
A gorgeous afternoon with sunshine, but we're expecting increasing cloud cover, even a little bit of rain as we head for tonight. I'm timing that out of your full Storm Team 10 day coming up.
Thank you for turning to 10, your news leader. NBC 10 News continues right now.
Welcome back, everyone. A fire at a home in Providence yesterday afternoon apparently rekindled overnight. Firefighters first responded to the home on Fern Street just after noon yesterday for heavy fire in the back of the home. Then at about 3:30 this morning, they responded again for a fire in the loft area. One firefighter suffered a minor arm injury. The Red Cross is now helping the family of 5 who lived there. Opening statements are set to begin tomorrow in Karen Reed's murder retrial. She is charged with second-degree murder in the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Prosecutors say she hit him with her car and left him in the snow to die. The defense says she was framed. Her first trial ended in a hung jury. This second trial is expected to last 6 to 8 weeks. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is coming under fire again for a second Signal app chat where he discussed details of the airstrike on Yemen. The people on this chat included his wife, his brother, and his personal attorney. Hegseth also reportedly used his personal phone. He is blaming fired employees for creating the controversy. Still ahead on NBC 10 News at noon, Marathon Monday. We are live from Hopkinton for the 129th running of the Boston Marathon. Also ahead, live from the Vatican with a look at what's ahead as the College of Cardinals will elect a new pope. We are back live now to St. Peter's Square at the Vatican for the breaking news of Pope Francis's death early this morning. That is where he will lie in state before the funeral mass. And that funeral is expected to be held 4 to 6 days after his death, so later this week, though we don't know yet the date. After that, the search for a new pope begins. A papal conclave will be held in 15 to 20 days. The College of Cardinals will hold mass, then enter the Sistine Chapel to begin the process of voting. There are currently 252 cardinals. Only 138 are under the age of 80 and therefore eligible to vote in the conclave, but there's no age limit on who is selected. Now, once the conclave begins, the eligible cardinals will be locked in the church without access to the outside world until a new pope is chosen. If no candidate receives 2/3 of the vote, the ballots will be burned, producing a black smoke. That will indicate to the public that a pope has not yet been chosen. When one is elected, the smoke will appear white. As many as 4 rounds of voting could be held each day. The whole process could take days or even weeks. The passing of Pope Francis is also on the minds of many at today's 129th running of the Boston Marathon. And that's where we find NBC 10's Kennedy Buck, who is live at the starting line, where the day began with some mixed emotions. Hey, Kennedy.
Hey, Barb, that's right. It's been a bittersweet day here in Hopkinton as many gathered for the Boston Marathon. They also learned of the recent news of the passing of Pope Francis. But they say despite their grief, the hope that the marathon brings to the community is what will get them through. A day of excitement.
It's really special to have such an exciting event starting in a quiet little town like Hopkinton.
But also a day that started with sad news of the passing of Pope Francis.
It's a sad time of mourning, but you're moving forward towards a new person, a new generation of the church, so that could also be something that could inspire them.
Still, the joy of the 129th Boston Marathon carried through the town of Hopkinton. The starting line filling up with runners stretching and spectators cheering on their loved ones, proud of the accomplishment they're about to take on. For many, it was also a moment of reflection on the journey it took to get here.
I have a spinal cord injury, and I was told I would never run again, so just I get emotional every time. So just being here is a very special experience.
This is Wendy's 6th Boston Marathon, but after her accident, she took a break. So for her, it feels like the first time all over again.
My wildest dream was always to run the Boston Marathon.
And she's not the only one with a 26.2-mile dream on her mind. In fact, for NBC 10's Caitlin O'Brien, crossing the finish line is a vision coming to life.
This has been something that has always kind of been a dream of mine, but it's not something I ever thought I would be able to do. And all of a sudden, now at 25, I'm able to do it, which is shocking.
And for others, the Boston Marathon has become a rite of passage. Still, the hope that the marathon inspires in so many stays the same.
I'm an upper spinal cord injury survivor, same level as Christopher Reeves. So it's leg braces and a cane and a very slow go. But I'm so happy to be here at Boston.
Different athletes, different states, and different countries, and different reasons for running. But their passion is what brings them all together.
You do it because it's hard and because it challenges you.
A little over 30,000 athletes are participating in today's marathon, and 128 countries are being represented. For now in Hopkinton, Kennedy Buck, NBC 10 News.
Kennedy, thank you. And by the way, we do have a winner in the men's side. John Courier of Kenya is the men's winner of the marathon. And of course, we're very proud of Caitlin O'Brien, who is our 5:30 p.m. producer. And now with our latest forecast is Storm Team 10 meteorologist AJ Mastrangelo. A perfect day for running, actually.
Perfect day for running. Temperatures not too warm, not too cold. Lots of sunshine to start off the day. Take a look at the sunrise we had sent in by Tony. We appreciate everyone sending in those photos on Chime In. You can send in your own, turner10.com or that NBC 10 app. Some gorgeous high cirrus clouds also making for a nice sight to see. And you can also see a very faint, I actually forget what that's called. It's not a sun halo. It's actually a sun pillar. It's the ice crystals, as I remember it, kind of just deflecting some of that light and scattering it in that one column. Let's take a look right now. We do have a little bit of some cloud cover out there with Iggy's Doughboy and Chowder House. Some folks enjoying the sunshine, though. Nonetheless, we do have more of these clouds working into the region. Our temperature 54 degrees, south-southeast wind at 14 miles per hour. 25 is our wind gust, 10 miles. Our -7 temperature change, definitely notable out there. It is a touch cooler, but we're still dealing with that breeze like what we had for our Easter Sunday. 59 this afternoon in Providence. Increasing clouds expected. That south breeze still continuing on. Seasonable high temperatures. Our average high right at 61 degrees. We're just below that heading for the afternoon. In Boston, seeing beautiful sunshine right now, but we do see more of this white coloring here, and that is some thicker cloud cover. It's pushing further off to the east. You can see now spilling into parts of Washington and Kent counties. It will overspread the region here, and after we do get this cloud cover, eventually some rain showers will work into the region. The closest rain we can find right now is in upstate New York, but the main cold front out here towards Cleveland, Ohio, so we do have quite a bit of some time before that squeaks on through here, and that'll be early tomorrow morning. Potentially for that morning commute, still could be a few lingering raindrops. This is 6 p.m. this evening. Temperatures still in the 50s, even some 40s along the immediate coastline. Southerly winds, still a decent evening in Boston. You actually may see a little bit of a sea breeze there, perhaps a headwind for the last few miles of the race as that comes to an end this evening. If we head for the overnight, that's when we start to see a little bit more in the way of these scattered showers working on through the region. 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning, even 8:30, still some light rain showers possible. Temperatures hanging in the 50s. We do break into some sunshine tomorrow, and temperatures actually going to be about 10, 15 degrees warmer than what we're seeing out there for today. Look at 72, 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. What we do see is a little bit more of that southwest wind, so that means places like Newport, immediate south coast, likely going to be stuck in the upper 50s, maybe low 60s heading for your afternoon hours down there. We continue into Wednesday, starting off with temperatures around 50 degrees through the morning, and as we head for the afternoon, low mid 60s. Not looking too bad here as we continue through the middle of the week. Any rain that does come through the overnight, likely around 1/10 of an inch or less. Some spots maybe a little bit more than that, but not a whole lot of rain expected here, and that's going to keep that tree pollen level very high as well. So some morning drops here for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all expecting high pressure in place with highs in the upper 60s. Then as we continue the weekend, unfortunately, a rain chance lining up with Saturday. We do have rain expected there. It does clear out as we head for next Sunday, and then look at next week, Barb. More 70s in stores.
Wow.
So the good news with this forecast, well, we'll be dodging some rain chances. Temperatures look to be above average.
I feel like the tree pollen is all right here today.
Yep. I've been taking my allergy medicine, so I'm good for now, but hopefully that doesn't change.
Okay, AJ. Hey, now to Wall Street, where the Dow is plummeting again amid worries about President Trump's trade war. It is currently down more than 1,000 points. And as you can see, the Dow is down, 2 3/4%. Pretty significant there. DHL shipping is temporarily halting so-called business-to-consumer shipments to the U.S. that are worth more than $800. They say it's because of the significant increase in red tape at customs because of President Trump's new tariffs. Until now, packages worth up to $2,500 could enter the U.S. with minimal paperwork. The brand North Face is recalling some women's waterproof boots. Here's why. It's because they could cause people wearing them to fall. That's because the hook on one boot can catch the lace of the other boot. The boots in question are called the Shalista 5 Mid Waterproof Boots. 28 people have reported falls, resulting in 15 injuries. And we'll be back with one more look at the forecast. Now it's time for a lunch break. Here's a look at what's on television tonight. The Voice is at 8 and Law & Order SVU at 10. Then, of course, you can join the NBC 10 News Night team at 11. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump kicked off the annual White House Easter egg roll this morning. It is a tradition dating back to 1978. As many as 40,000 people are attending, but it is a bittersweet day with the somber backdrop of Pope Francis's passing. At the event, President Trump also announced that he's ordered all flags to be flown at half-staff in tribute. Sharon Lokedi of Kenya broke the Boston Marathon course record. Yeah. She is the winner, and I think it was by a couple of minutes.
By over 2 minutes, yeah, I was watching it.
That is crazy.
So she was just kicking butt out there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and go Caitlin O'Brien, our 5:30 producer.
Definitely rooting all those marathon runners the best today. Great day for some running. Let's take a final check of that forecast. We do have more clouds working on in here as we head for the evening. You see those temperatures dipping down into the mid and eventually low 50s, perhaps even a few 40s as we continue for the overnight. Rain showers working in the region. Those were out here 7, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We're up to 72 for our Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all in the upper 60s with a decent amount of sunshine. Rain likely for Saturday. That clears out heading for next week.
You know what this means?
What?
We're going to start mowing our lawns.
They're turning green, so
yeah, they are
growing soon.
Okay, thanks for joining us, AJ, and thank you so much for joining us. That does it for our noon show. We'll see you next at 4. Have a great afternoon.